Brickey Sports Show with the team that can give you what you know, what you need and what you want on the court. For football, the basketball, and every other sport. With Troy and DL and Dr. Carl Brinkley and Paul and the coach Robert Brickey. It's time, get your coffee and get ready for the flow. Get ready for the coach, Brickey Sports Show. And get ready for the flow. And get ready for the flow.
Nine and a half minutes after that on this Monday. I hope you're doing well out there. I had a fabulous weekend, fantastic, and I hope that you did as well. Look, it's 60 degrees when I came in this morning, so last week it was in the 30s on a couple of occasions, in the 40s. But we're here back for the Coach Brickey Sports Show this morning, and we, Coach Brickey is not behind the microphone with us this morning, but we have DL on the line. And DL, we have in the studio Reverend Dr. Carlton Brown. He's a pastor over at Mount Zion, and he's a sports enthusiast. So I asked him, he said, what y'all going to talk about? I said, we talking about sports. It's a sports show. Anyway, good morning, DL.
Good morning. Welcome to the table.
That's right. I mean, look. Hey, look. I like I say, all I have been in my entire life is a spectator. There's no problem with that. And when I played Sandlot, I got picked last. That's the truth. Well. That's the truth. But you know, good morning, Doc. How you doing, sir?
I'm great, man. How are you?
Excellent. Deal. Let's lead off with a couple of things that you had brought up. Let's massage those things a little bit.
Well, the biggest thing was Michigan's run last week, ending in a championship over UConn. Not going to say, I'll be honest with you, what the best of games. It's hard to watch. Both teams shot terribly, but you can attribute it to defense. Now, Michigan had been lights out every game in the tournament, and to UConn slowed them down. And the game was still in question within the last, from being a competitive game, it was still within question within the last minute. So hats off to UConn. And, you know, they don't call them the MVP. They call him the most outstanding player in college, wants to be different. And that belonged to Elliot Kudo, who took some subtle shots at UNC because I guess it was at fans because he left. And but shouts out to Elliot Kudo. You know, these young men, they play hard. They just, some programs they don't fit in, whether it be playing style or coaching. But hey, he came through for Michigan on the biggest stage in college basketball last Monday night.
So now, this year was his second or third year?
This is his second year at Michigan. First year. I'm sorry. First year.
Yeah, I mean, first year at Michigan, I'm saying, but so far he's playing college ball. How many years has he been playing college ball?
Elliot Kudo's been playing college ball for 3 years.
Okay. Well, you know, I mean, because I read this thing, guys, and it said that, you know, players can advance. That, you know, it just, look, he could have been anywhere on his first year or two and not been playing well and then started playing better. You know, it's not necessarily where you're at. It's, you know, his skill set and his ability to advance his skills going into, you know, your freshman year and your sophomore year. You know, look at some of the greatest players that are out there, unless they just walk in the door with, like, Magic Johnson talent. You know what I mean?
Now, sometimes it's a system they play in.
Right.
Your talents are, work better.
True.
In a different system and with a different coach. You know, sometimes your style can be massaged a little bit better with your teammates, and your coach can utilize your skill set a little bit better, just depending on where you are, I think.
Yeah, you know, he's going to realize he's not going to be the first with this Neil and this transfer portal, which closes for the women, it closes on the 20th, and the men on the 21st. He's going to realize he's not going to be the first or only player to excel at a different program. And to me, I know it's easy to take shots at Hubert and UNC, but to me, that's going to happen everywhere. Everybody loses recruits. Duke loses and they go elsewhere, so it's nothing unusual. But he did what was best for him. I don't think he's pro basketball material, because I think if he was, he goes now while his stock is high. Game's not going to transfer over to the NBA, and I think he's one of them, because he's not he's small, and he's just not a good pure shooter. Yeah. And I see him in G League, but I don't see him in the NBA.
Well, that's another point I would bring in, that because you're playing well at the college level, don't mean that you're going to go to the next level. And some of the coaching styles will actually enhance your ability to go to the next level, even though you might seem like that style is holding you back. Dean Smith was accused of that a whole lot, because he really believed in team play. But one thing, when people left Carolina under Dean Smith and Roy Williams in particular, they were solid players,
right?
And scouts and everybody knew that, and so they generally, when they went to the next level, they played well.
And Troy, for Cadeau, and like I said, I was never a basketball player. Just comparing him to his colleagues, and he went from North Carolina field goal percentage. He was at 41%, then he went to 44%, and he was 41% at Michigan this year, so he's averaging 424 as a point guard. 3-point, he was rough at Carolina. He was 189, then he was 18%, 33%, and he's 37% at Michigan. He's on a better team, I can tell you that, and a good coach.
Right.
And he facilitated the ball during the tournament, and he shot a high percentage, and he just had a good 6-game run. But,
Yeah, well, I look at some of the really great players. I mean, arguably Michael Jordan is considered to be one of the greatest players of late. He was not a big scorer at Carolina. There's this joke that the only person that could hold Jordan under 30 points was Dean Smith. He turned out to be a solid all-around player. The people that played in his era said that he had no weaknesses in any parts of his game. And, I think that's what matters if you want to go to the next level.
The truth is, though, nobody knew that Michael Jordan was going to be the kind of player he turned out to be when he was at North Carolina. He wasn't that great at North Carolina. It's just after he left.
I don't know, Doc. I mean, now in that championship game, you understand that he was a leading rebounder for his team.
That's just one game, the championship game. I'm talking about as a his overall college career. He wasn't that great of a player.
That's arguable, but I'm saying, but if you look at that whole tournament, you know what I'm saying, the championship game was, I'm playing that out, but if you look at that whole tournament, and people can look at it, you can pull it up now and look at it, he was a very good player, even,
in the tournament.
In the tournament, and not only that, his season. When he walked in the door, and I understand that Dean didn't start a lot of freshmen, and he walked in the door, and now the person that really saw his talent or his ability was Roy Williams. Roy Williams was the one that focused in on him when he was at Hoggard. He was at Langley, right? DL in Wilmington, Langley?
Yeah, he was at Langley.
Yeah, he was at Langley. But I'm saying is that he saw his raw talent. Now, yes, now his basketball IQ, no, I don't think that was there. But what they did see was his raw talent and his ability to grow. Dean said this. Dean said he had never coached anyone that grew as fast as he did. So from his freshman to his sophomore season to his junior season, he was going by leaps and bounds. And so now he was not selected overall #1. It wasn't. But think about Chicago said we want this guy. And everybody was saying, no, he's not tall enough. You know, he's not going to do anything. And from what's stated, that after the first practice, coach went to the owner and said, you know what? This guy's going to be all that. I mean, just, you know. But again, you know, that's all this stuff is subjective. You know what I mean? It's a matter of opinion.
Well, hold on a second before we transition to our next topic. He was the 1984 Naismith Player of the Year, so he was definitely the best player in the country in '84. And
Right.
Ralph Sampson won it 3 straight years from '80 to '83, but Ralph Sampson couldn't take his team to glory land. And that was the NCAA championship. So,
Well, you know, they were in the conference with Carolina, and you remember that year they ran into Carolina in the Final Four, you know. So it was just, look, Worthy, out of Worthy himself. Now, this is what Worthy says. Worthy says, man, I was better than Michael for about like 3 weeks. when he was a freshman. That's what Worthy says. He says that, you know, Worthy said that they'd be out there, they practicing and everything, and everybody else would be leaving, and that Jordan would say, hey, look, man, you know, I want to pay you some more, one-on-one. I mean, he was just competitive about everything. You know, I mean, you know, I forget the kid's name, but he was the player of the year, and they were roommates. The white kid out of Asheville, somewhere like that.
Buzz Peterson.
Yeah, Buzz Peterson.
Buzz Peterson from Asheville, North Carolina.
So
yeah,
the story is he goes home with Buzz Peterson for a weekend, and they're playing Old Maid. You know, the car game Old Maid. And Michael is cheating his mom for Old Maid. He said, I mean, his level of just, I got to win. It just, with everything, it was just almost insane.
Okay, Troy. Speaking of Jordan, who's going to stay along the lines of Air Jordan, the Jordan brand, and go to Chapel Hill, where they named Michael Malone, who was a successful NBA coach in Denver till he was relieved of his duties. It happens to the best of them. So he set out all of this year, and he accepted the job at Carolina. And everybody, including me, thought they were trying to go for a college coach. Now, like you say, Troy, a lot of coaches use Carolina to get bigger deals and get more control over there. But the numbers, his salary is going to be 6 years, $50 million. His average salary is going to be 8.3, and his starting pay is going to be 7.5, increasing by $9 million in the final year. So total value is $50 million over 6 years. And he's keeping his support staff. This is the kicker right here. His support staff, his assistant coaches, $4 million salary. It can increase to $4 million. So you know that's coming from the Jordan brand contract. In Carolina, it's all in because that's NBA coaches type money. And Carolina's all in, and you have some people that's critical of it, but I like the hire because he's no nonsense. He's going to get in players' face, and that's what I like about the hire.
What about that?
Initially, you know, I'm like DL. I thought they were going to try and find somebody with college experience. But he's a proven winner. And so, again, we'll see if he can transition that to the college. I think one of the upside many people are saying is that because he knows what it is to coach professional players, correct, he'll be able to prepare his athletes to go to the pro. Just like you were saying earlier, Dean Smith and Roy Williams were able to prepare athletes to play in the pro. I think that will be one of his better assets and be able to, you know, recruit based on that. And again, he's a winner, and he's won the NBA championship with Denver. And so we'll see. You know, again, we'll see what happens.
Yeah, well, you know, but, you know, look, a lot of guys are signing off on him now. Danny Green, Hansbrough, Jordan. I mean, some of the quite a few of the Carolina greats are saying, hey, look, this guy's a real deal.
That's a good idea, right.
And when you have the NIL DL and all this other stuff going on now, college basketball coaching, I believe it's not what it used to be.
It's like a professional league now.
Right, it is. I mean, it's like, you know, they always called it the minor league, but I think it is really the minor league now.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and they throw an extra bonus in there. His daughter, Bridget Malone, plays volleyball
Right, yeah.
for Carolina. She's
Yeah.
6'1" sophomore, so that comes into play. So Malone comes from a lineage of coaches. His dad was assistant coach. I think he coached the Raptors briefly. His dad's now deceased. The most famous picture you see of his dad is when Isaiah Thomas was getting upset in the game, and Isaiah's choking. Coach Brandon Malone allows Isaiah to put his hands behind his neck. You know, so that was a vivid image of his dad. I just like it. I like the hire. You know, unlike you, Troy, I root for all ACC teams with Carolina's out the picture. But right now, I'm
You've
all
been
in
funny
on
now.
Big Blue.
Okay, keep going.
Yeah, you know. But it's just a good day for Carolina because they're back in the game. Coaching is everything, you know. It's just coaching is so important because you're these personalities and meal deals. Only thing I'll say this about coaches and not just Carolina coach, you know, you have to know when to move on from a player in this Neal era. And what I think needs to be done with Neal is that it's like John Calipari said, you get a one-time transfer, just one time straight up without penalty, or if your coach is fired or leave, or they revoke the scholarship. And after that, no, if you transfer, you have to sit out of here. You need to go back to the old way. You just, you know, because they're getting paid. They wanted to be compensated, so they're getting paid. Troy, you say this, the pendulum swung too far. And so they need to right size it down the middle, and I think it'll be for a better brand of basketball.
It's about the money, man. I mean, you know, you got some very high ethical guys like Dr. Brown here that if somebody offered him $50 million, he said, "Now turn it. I'm staying at Mount Zion. I don't care what you say. You can't buy me off." And then others like Troy say, "Well, look, you know, let me go pray about this."
I don't know if I'd have to pray about that or not.
But you know what I mean? Look, man, it's sports, man. All this sports stuff, it's about the money, man. Come on.
It is.
It's about the money.
But I think as DL says, it's kind of watering down the product a little bit because so many one and done guys now. And you see that where some of these guys who stay in college for 3 or 4 years, when they come out to the pro, they're a little bit better because they're more mature and they have learned the game a little bit better. But, you know, it is what it is. And as a young man, you know, you're going to take advantage. If somebody's offering you $1 million to go somewhere your family didn't know anything about that kind of money, hey, I'm going to take it to help my family, to help me in my future. So you can't be upset with these young men who are taking the opportunity now to help themselves and their families. But I think the overall college product sometimes gets watered down a little bit because so many of the good players leave first year that's one and done.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think they need advice, though. You know, I mean, I think they need consultation deal. Would you not agree with that? I mean, you know, some of them are not really ready.
That's what I'm saying.
For what they think they're ready for,
Right,
and they
right.
jump out there and, you know, they flop. And so,
Right.
you know, I don't know how all that thing works, but, you know, some of that money is contingent upon how well you do. It's not in your hand necessarily. But, you know, I mean, I understand. But, you know, if you never had that kind of money before, and particularly if you come from an impoverished position, you know, and once you get it, you need to spend it on the right way.
Right.
You know, you trying to take care of everybody, all of your friends, and you know, you get a whole lot of cousins, you know, when you get that kind of money.
It's gone in no time.
Really. Deal.
Yeah. But if you're looking at the players who have decided to go pro based on being ACC Player of the Year, it's a good list. I'm going to just name a few names that you probably won't. I don't think they're in the NBA, and they might be. If they are, they're very deep on the bench as far as being ACC Player of the Year. Carolina, before '89, Carolina had the most ACC Player of the Year, but now they got 20. Carolina got 16. But if you think about it, R.J. Davis, he's not in the pro. I don't think Isaiah Wong is in the pro. Alondez Williams might be in the pro. Moses Wright, Trey Jones. So those are from 20 to 24. Now, I thought Baycott was ACC Player of the Year, but obviously he was a 5-year player at Carolina. He's not in the pro. Justin Jackson's not in the pro anymore. So it doesn't necessarily translate to a pro career, unfortunately. But I'm glad they have the deal because now these young men, that's what Cadeau's going to do. Cadeau's going to be a 4-year starter. Little does he know. He's a junior this year, but he's going to be he's coming back for his senior year, which is a good thing for him to get that money because I just don't – that G League, they don't make enough money. I don't know why those guys – if you're not going to do spot duty in the NBA and get some extra money, I don't see how you ride the G League for so long. Because you're just not making the bag. But, I know we headed up against the break, Troy, and we can still stick on this college basketball because the dean of coaches right now is Rick Pitino, and he come out with something about referees that I thought was very interesting.
Sure. Well, look, we are going to go to a break and come back. We have DL and Reverend Dr. Carlton Brown, Mount Zion from Eastover, contributing. He's good. And you all know you can't buy him off. So, I don't care if you offer him $50 million, Caleb and everybody saying, Dad, stay. We'll be right back.
President Donald Trump is lashing out against Pope Leo for comments the Pope made about the U.S. stand on Iran. North Carolina Labor Commissioner Luke Farley is organizing a major 4th of July parade in downtown Raleigh to celebrate the 250th anniversary of American independence. Today, there will be a hearing on the highly contested Carolina Shores Golf Course south of Wilmington near Calabash. There are now concerns about potential environmental hazards there. UNC Pembroke officials broke ground over the weekend on a $96 million clinical sciences building that will be open in 2028. Will house the new College of Optometric Medicine. California's Democratic Congressman Eric Swalwell has suspended his campaign for governor amid accusations of sexual assault by a former staffer and sexual misconduct. Mike Trayley, NCN News.
I'm Jamie Monticelli, WIDU Radio News. Cumberland County Schools say stop by the Family Engagement Cruiser Stop Kindergarten Kickoff to learn about kindergarten registration and school readiness. It is 4 until 6 p.m. on Thursday, April 16th. That is at the Cumberland County North Regional Public Library. The staff there will answer questions, provide guidance, and help families get connected for a strong start. The Fayetteville Fire Department says knowing when to dial 911 can save a life. Even young kids can learn how to call for help in case of an emergency. Children can learn that important skill as young as 4 years old. Children can understand the process and maybe memorize a few key details like your address or phone number. Younger kids can start by learning the name of the road they live on, then progress to memorizing the street number along with their phone number. Sparky.org has online activities and printouts to make learning safety interactive and a great way for families to learn safety together. From WIDU Radio, I'm Jamie Monticelli.
It's a nice, comfortable start to our Monday morning under a mix of clouds and sun. That's really going to take us through the rest of the day today. Any showers staying well to our north, and boy, do we need the rain. In the meantime, we'll see a mix of clouds and sun this afternoon, highs 80 to 85 degrees. Overnight, mild, partly cloudy, temperatures in the upper 50s and lower 60s, with the warm-up really taking off Tuesday, highs in the mid to upper 80s. I'm meteorologist Chris Michaels in the NCN Weather Center.
You have always put others before yourself. Put your country above all else. Given everything you can, every time. Now it's time to forge a new path. At Fayetteville State University, we believe your service is our debt. So we're offering free military family tuition. Yes, absolutely free. And with new programs like cybersecurity, anything really can happen. Fayetteville State University. Are you in?
Your child's doctor shares your goals, a healthy future for your child. Doctors recommend vaccines throughout childhood because they protect what matters most: your child's future from preventable disease and serious illness. Discuss any questions you have and check that your child is up to date and talk about any concerns. You're right to have questions. Get real answers. Start a conversation with your doctor today. Visit vaccinesforkids.nc.gov. Paid for by NCDHHS.
You ever notice how most helpful information always seems to show up just a little too late? Like, oh, the deadline was yesterday. Or,
you know, you could have saved money if you'd done that earlier.
Timing matters. That's why Fayetteville PWC wants you to know the summertime of use schedule begins April 1st. With smart timing, you can lower your energy costs by running appliances like washers, dryers, and dishwashers outside of peak hours. And by adjusting your thermostat just a few degrees higher between 3 and 6 in the afternoon, you can save even more. It's a simple shift that helps reduce strain on the energy grid, supports a more sustainable future, and keeps power reliable for everyone in our community. Because at Fayetteville PWC, we're committed to being environmentally responsible, dependable, and deeply invested in the place we all call home. Timing matters, and smart timing means savings. Learn more at startsaving at faypwc.com.
Angelic Flourish Creations, 442 Hillsborough Street, Fayetteville, is family owned and operated, proudly serving the Fayetteville area. Whatever the occasion, Angelic Flourish Creations can create a floral arrangement or gift for any occasion or holiday. Angelic Flourish Creations has prompt, friendly, and caring service. If you want to say you care, you can always say it with flowers from Angelic Flourish Creations, 442 Hillsborough Street, Fayetteville. Call 910-485-2205.
Have you ever considered a career as a public power line worker? Public power line workers use a variety of specialized skills to build and maintain a locally owned and operated electric system. As a public power line worker, you can expect a career that allows you to work close to home, a safety record superior to other energy providers, and training and apprenticeship opportunities. Learn more about public power and careers in public power at electricities.com.
And we're back now. We were laughing, DL, during the break because I was telling Dr. Brown here, look, I'm not an athlete, so if you beat me something athletically, I don't care. You know what I mean? Don't matter. You know what I'm saying? It just, you know, I'm not that competitive there. You know what I mean? So I don't get all, you know. And the whole, because we were talking about golf, and DL, I would love for you to come down when we have, because we normally are in the golf tournament for the DA. That's in September. And Captain's Choice, man, you know, we have a lot of fun out there. I'm telling you, those 18 holes are just phenomenal. We have a lot of fun. But anyway, you want to talk about this stuff with Rick Pitino. How about diving into that?
Yeah, Rick Pitino, wow, he's probably the oldest of the big name older coaches. I don't know, you know, who's the oldest, D1 or D2, but Rick is 72. He's still coaching good. Rick Barnes is 70. I remember he had that dust up with Dean when he was at Clemson. Tom Izzo at Michigan State, 70. Calvin Sampson, born in Laurinburg, USC Pembroke guard at 69, and then John Calipari, 66. Now, between all of them, Rick only had 2 championships at Louisville and Kentucky. But Rick, in all of them, I like the fact that they ride the referees. Tedeschi ride the referees. So here's a little clip of Rick Pitino says that, you know, referees need to do a better job of watching the action instead of entertaining coaches, because coaches are lobbying for fouls, are complaining, and you know, you can still sometimes coaches when they're doing a free throw shooting, they've got their ear to the side watching. Rick Pitino said he doesn't like that. He said they need to be paying close attention to the game. Well, he needs to be talking to his colleagues, because the minute a referee ignores a seasoned coach, they're going to think he's being too uppity or just, you know, ignoring him. So I found that kind of interesting. And the reason why I brought it up again is that I want to just touch on the Don Staley, Gino Ariana saga last week. Where I'm like this, ain't that what coaches do? Ride referees to get leverages? And the referees should be experienced enough to just listen. You just nod your head and make sure you're acknowledging them, but you care less about what they're saying. Because that was, Gino that definitely wasn't his finest moment. Because he was crying that he felt that USC had all the calls 2 weeks ago, which, I'm like, hey, unless you got some evidence that showed that somebody from South Carolina played the referee off, you have to tailor your game to the call. If they're going to call tight, tell your players you got to be more careful. If they're not going to call tight, have at it. So I just wanted to throw that in there, as we exit the college basketball. I just found it interesting that Rick Pitino would say that.
Yeah, you heard what he said?
Yeah.
You got a response to that?
Well, again, DL is right. I mean, the coaches and the players have to adjust to how the referees are calling. And
that's true.
Any great coach is going to try and get any advantage they can.
Sure.
By, pressing the referee, hey, you need to look for this, look for this, look for that. I mean, that's the coach's job, to try and get any advantage they can for their players. And so back to the Don Staley thing, that was just so, disgraceful, really. Gino, I think he's arrogant and he was just getting his what kick that day. Don was out coaching him, and his players were being outplayed, and he was just a sore loser. So, so it was not his finest moment. But again, it is what it is. I know what it is to be in the heat of competition. Sometimes you can lose your cool, and that's just what he did. But I think there's more behind it, but I'm not going to say any more about it. But, as a coach, you're going to have to try and get all the advantage you can for your players. And if that means being in the referee's ears, well, be in the referee's ears and get what you can get.
Okay, I buy that. But Reverend Doctor, just out of, and I'm not picking on you, but what is arrogance? Because people call people arrogant, you know what I mean? And stuff like that. I mean, I've had people say, "What Troy, you just arrogant?" I'm like, well, wait a minute. I mean, give me a definition of this. If I have confidence in myself regarding something.
Right.
I mean, when do you cross the line to being arrogant about anything?
Right. You're right. And there's a fine line between confidence and arrogance. But I think it's saying that Gino is arrogant. Yes, he's the winningest coach, and he is the most successful women's basketball coach, or perhaps all D1 coaches. And so I think the arrogant thing is okay. They were on a 28 game or 38 game winning streak coming in.
Something like that.
And everybody was saying, the tournament was there. So he went in with overconfident that, okay, we can't be beat. I think that was his mindset. And so he was, again, thinking, okay, we cannot be beat. And so when they were getting beat, then all of a sudden, his ego was getting checked. And so, yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. Hey, but Troy.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with being confident, but it's arrogance. It's after the game.
Okay.
He let his arrogance get the best of him. Then the next day, he should have only had to make one apology.
Right.
But he had to make two. His
right.
arrogance wouldn't let him call her by name on Saturday.
Right.
But then when somebody got to him and told him how the optics look, because he knows he's not winning with a bunch of white females. I'm not trying to offend anybody, but
right.
face facts. He's got to have that diverse group come through that door. And so, like I said, I was just surprised at him. Man, I'm like, dude, this ain't the first game you lost. And but I just wanted to bring it up. But coaches,
sure.
Reason why coaches have to ride referees is because they got to protect their players. When you got a hothead player that's going to cry and throw a tantrum, you need him in the game. And sometimes the coach needs to divert the attention from the player to them with the referees, and that's why they do it. Some of them do it.
I don't know. Did you recall that thing I sent you guys about the NFL referees and some of the changes that may come this fall with the coming season with regard to, the calls being made out of New York and the things like that, and that they may reverse some things in XYZ. Do you recall me sending that? Did you get a chance to look at that?
Well, not only did I see that, I've been watching the news that they had the conference. They had the league meeting a couple weeks ago, last week, and this is because they may have replacement refs, and they do not want a game to hinge on a terrible call. And they have some other rules coming into play too. But one of them, what you're talking about, is because of the referees, the current full-time, may go on strike. So.
Yeah, right. But anyway, though, look, I just had Caleb, my intern, challenge me and say, I can beat you at air hockey. I said, look, Caleb, you can beat me at a lot of things. So, understand, look, I'm that kind of guy. Look, I understand my lane. But, when you're playing captain's choice golf, and it's the best ball out of 4 people, I like that. Because, if I can get the best ball, we playing 18 holes, if I can get the best ball a time or 2, 3 times, or 4 times, I'm really excited about that. And because I'm the worst player on the team, when we get to the green, they're gonna want me to putt first to see which way the ball breaks, so I can give everybody else, the other 3 players, an advantage. And if I make that, and I do it sometimes, then hey, look, I'm like the young Tiger Woods. So it doesn't matter, man. Look, Dean Smith did say this: it's just a game.
Yeah.
Did you know that, DL? He says just a game.
Well, yeah, it is just a game, but, Dean coached in an era where, like him and Bobby Knight, they had total control over programs. And I like it because, Troy, me and you talk about we weren't athletes in high school, but one thing, our military background a lot, we understand teamwork, we understand discipline. And like I say, I tell somebody, not a Bobby Knight fan, because Bobby, they called him the general. Well, Bobby, generals have to be led to, and they have to listen to somebody unless you're Patton. But my biggest thing is that these coaches, such as Bobby Knight, when I want my child to go to Bobby Knight, I say, well, I joined the military and I had Vietnam era drill sergeant. So I say this, he's going for free education. As long as Bobby don't put his hands on him, he's a good coach, send him there. And so that's what we can look at players and we can look at coaches and tell you who's running a loose ship and why some teams are more successful. Bill Belichick, Randy Moss, they're about to cry one day. They were in New England and they got to practice late because of the snow. And Randy Moss is at the top of his game when he left Oakland, that sorry team out there in Vegas. Randy Moss, he sent Randy Moss home. He sent him home. He said, you need to employ, you're a stickler for being on time. You're a stickler for being on time. Bill didn't care about the snow because everybody else made it. He said they needed to back up their time. That's what I love about sports, when some of these coaches can instill that, and that's what I miss about the Dean days and the Bobby Knight days. So
I'm gonna this is for our listeners' benefit. DL tries to throw shade subtly because he recognizes that I'm a Raiders fan. I got my Raiders hat in here, and you notice he said, that team out there, 90 in Vegas, that's okay, DL. One day you're gonna be in this room and we're gonna be throwing stuff at each other.
It's just a game, but as Herm Edwards said, you play to win the game.
I know, I'm with you with that.
And so if you're going to play, you might as well play to win. So that's just my mindset.
That's what my man from the Celtics said, Bill Russell, because he has 2 books, and I read one of his autobiography.
Okay.
He told us guys, said, look, man, the league wasn't that big then either. But still, he said, look, we got to play these guys because they're on the schedule. So there's no getting around that. But, because we have to play them, we might as well win.
Yeah.
So, but I got you. I got you with that. Switching gears, man, let's talk a little bit about deal. You brought it up, and matter of fact, Dr. Brown brought it up. What about what happened in Augusta, man?
Oh, I'll just touch on it. I watched I only watch when it gets competitive when it comes to golf because, but that was a big feat by Roy McIlroy because now he's one of four to win back-to-back.
Yeah.
Nick Faldo, Jack Nicholson, and Tiger Woods, and now Roy McIlroy. And I tell you, I love what Augusta does. I'm going to go watch that tournament one year. I like the fact that Augusta say no cell phone when there's the events going on. You can bring them in the practice round, but that place is that's the granddaddy of them all in golf. So that's a good win for Roy. And I thought Scotty Scheffler was going to play a little bit better, but they said he just had a child, and I thought, can't they channel that stuff? I don't know, but I thought it was going to be more competitive. But Roy, he outlasted all of them.
I mean, he finished second. He was one shot off. I mean, I thought he was going to chase him down too, and so he finished second, but just by one shot off. So I mean, he was coming hard, and he missed a couple really, really close ones, burned the edges of the hole. Man, I thought he was going to run him down, but Rory hung in there. I thought he was going to give it up early, and he did, but he fought back. So you got to give him props. But so
yeah. Well,
Americans dominated.
Yeah, it's
Americans Americans dominated. They, in the top 20, Americans really came to play. So, but we didn't win the big win because Roy he won it, and he's from Europe. So. But we came to play. We just didn't bring it home.
Yeah, I think he got $4.5 million. I don't know how much of that was take home with taxes and all other kind of things. But the lowest person, I think I was looking at this figure this morning, got something like $50,000. But the highest guy got $4.5 million. Then everybody else got money in between that,
right.
But hey, look, Deal, you got to come down now. Look, we're gonna play. Get some clubs, and we're gonna have some fun out there. I mean, just get your swings in, man. That's
yeah. All right, I'll put it on my calendar to make sure my September stays open. As long as it's not on because the NFL schedule comes out now next week. We're gonna have to talk about possible players from our ACC and in our viewing area, our listening area might be drafted in a couple weeks in Pittsburgh. But as long as I ain't planning on going to see the Steelers that weekend when the schedule comes out this time, it'll be out.
It's on a Thursday.
They release the schedule.
The game is always on. I believe it's the second Thursday. It's the second Thursday in September.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I can definitely be available for that. And speaking of the NFL, not really trying to turn this into politics, but I'm glad the Department of Justice is telling them, slow your roll. These 10 platforms just to watch a football game. Because Troy,
that's true.
Being from this part of the state, when I grew up, Troy, we had 3 channels. Three of them were out of Charlotte, and then we could barely get Spartanburg, which is a CBS affiliate. Then you had WXII, NBC out of Winston, and then Channel 8, the ABC affiliate out of High Point. And you have to have 10 different platforms to watch an NFL game. In the 60s, the Congress gave them the, antitrust, basically saying the NFL could pool their resources and develop their own television network, and they didn't have to worry about people calling them out. Whereas baseball, the Dodgers and Yankees, they don't have to adhere to that because L.A. and New York media markets are so high it would not benefit those teams to be all together with all major league teams. So, and Congress is reminding the NFL, you got publicly financed stadiums, and stop trying to take advantage of the little person.
Yeah, well, Doc, they're saying now that if you watch every NFL game, it's going to cost you about $1,500.
Really?
Yes, sir. And that's what Dill's talking about. That's ridiculous.
Wow, that's crazy.
I mean, they're just exploiting a situation and they're making a lot of money anyway. I mean, it's even like the Dallas Cowboys. They ain't winning anything, but
they're making money.
They're making more money than anybody.
Than anybody else, right?
So, I agree with you. I mean, they are a type of nonprofit. People don't realize that. It's not a 501c3, but it's one of them other letters and numbers. They are a type of nonprofit as well as baseball.
Now, is that based on do they have a concern about gambling? Is that why they say that, or do you know?
I don't know that.
Okay.
But they might as well not have a concern about gambling because there's a lot of gambling going on. And like
too much, man.
In North Carolina, man, it's opened up. I'm not a gambler, but guys, this is what got people is that they don't realize that even the money you use to gamble that you lost on, you got to pay taxes on that too.
Really?
The fact that they said, well, you had the money, so you got to pay taxes on that money, even if you lost. Even if you lost. But I'm not a gambler, so that doesn't bother Troy.
Now the NFL, you don't want to spend your own money. You want to spend other people's money, but they also have to have money. They also have to have money for the players when they get old, the head injury. So those players that are vested, I think you have to be on the practice squad or play 3 or 4 years. I don't know the exact number, but those guys older guys that are dealing with lingering injuries and leg injuries, they get a check every month from the league, and then they have to pay for the insurance. So, but the NFL, it has money. Anytime that your Super Bowl halftime act, you don't pay them to come because you see your platform and your spotlight helps them out. So that means you got money because you don't get paid to perform for them at halftime. So,
Yeah, that's true. Right. Well, look, like I said, there's a lot of games out there. So I was asking Reb about playing chess, and he said no. And I said, I got some guys who want to play, but we're playing with a chess clock. You're not going to sit here and I can go make a biscuit before you make a move. That's not going to happen. Chess clock. And I know some people don't want, I don't want to play with a chess clock. No, I'll play you a good game of chess, but we're going to be on a clock.
On the clock.
We're going to be on a clock. And if you don't make your moves, then that's going to be on you.
Yeah, those are the good old days. Growing up, my dad and his uncles used to play. You just don't see that. I liked it because I was watching grown men. They look at each other and smiling. And they didn't have clocks back then. I guess they just kept them in their head. You just don't see it a lot no more. Chess. I think it's a thinker's man game. Hey, if you think about it, it's part of life. Some people play checkers while other people play chess. But very interesting game,
Sure. Well, when the shoe shine shop was downtown, they used to have, they playing checkers down there, man. Them guys be jumping all over the place. And you had some guys from Robeson County. Where were they from? I forget. They was from Red Springs somewhere. They would come up, and I'd watch them, and, man, they just be into it, man. They just bam, 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 bam. And them checker players, man, and just, it's about strategy, and you're looking at that board, and you got to know what you're doing. But a heck of a whole lot of fun. So we're moving forward then. So we touched a little bit on golf and what's coming up now. You got the NBA. They're actually down to the playoffs, which makes it more interesting. Look, I don't have the wherewithal, any energy, any interest to look at 80 to 90 games. I can't do it. It's just to each his own. But I don't love anything that much. I mean. But when you get down to the playoffs, then I start paying attention to it then.
Yeah, they start with the play-in games on Tuesdays.
Yeah, they're right. They got the play-in games.
And then after they, decide, then they start the real playoffs.
Yeah.
This weekend.
I used to like the Lakers a lot when I was a kid, but I don't even like them anymore. So I don't think I even have a favorite team now.
So then the NBA playoffs start, so that's going to be interesting. And then, like you said, you got the NFL draft 2 weeks from this Thursday, which is going to be interesting. So, they got the play-in game. The Hornets will play Miami Heat in the play-in game. So playoffs actually start for those two teams. And Charlotte's come a long way. They've had some awesome draft picks, so that's going to be interesting for the Carolinas. So, like Troy, you said, you could 82 games. But I'll tell you this, these players, they don't want to play 82. LeBron wants, they think it should be on the 60. And I just think about one debate I'll never have with anybody is, Michael Jordan said he's not the GOAT. He's just being honest. He in deep in his mind, he knows he's one of the best, if not the best. But what I liked about Jordan, he wanted to play 82 games. No coaches keep kicking him out, and he's going to play.
He's like, I gotta win.
Yeah. They don't do that no more. These guys don't do that.
Man, they're trying to figure out how to do it. Yeah.
They're lazy, man. That's what it is. We just we're raising lazy everything. Even lazy athletes. To tell the truth. I mean, they get paid so much more than what the other guys used to get paid who want to play all 82 games. So right. They have that whatever thing you call it, man, where they want to lay out. So now it's not good for the fans because Jordan understood this.
Load management.
Yeah, that's it. But Jordan understood that if he was playing in whatever city,
everybody coming out to see him.
They were coming out to see him.
Yeah. And
they don't want to see him sitting on a bench.
Right.
And he took that serious.
Yeah.
But they don't care now. They don't care. They do not care. It's about them. Load management.
And the game is a little bit softer now than it used to be back then when, bad boy Pistons and all that. What?
Please enter your PIN.
They claim that the game was softer then. That's what that's what some of these people now are saying, that the game was softer then, when that's not true.
They didn't watch them games.
Man, they were killing Jordan, man.
I mean, Duncan, San Antonio Spurs. That's who started that load management nonsense, and now it's out of control.
I mean, Jordan, the stuff that they were doing to Jordan, they would have been ejected from the game now if they were doing that.
Easily.
But he got up. He didn't complain. He got up, went to the weight room, buffed up, and said, look, I'm coming back. I'm going to play you hard.
Yeah. Miss those days.
Yeah, now that's when they played ball. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's when they played ball. So, well, look, guys, our time is up. We got to get out of here. Thank you so much, Reverend Dr. Carlton Brown, sitting in with us. DL, you guys have a great rest of your day. Caleb, thank you, sir. And like I said, you can beat me with all things, Caleb, okay? Our most able producer